just made a complete tit of myself down at the local Quick Fit. They very kindly pressure tested the car and it was fine, and they filled it with gas and then it wasn't fine. Next thing you know, the whole building had filled with steam and fumes and gas, and loads of green oil and liquid has poured out of the car. So gonna have a look and see if I can figure out what's gone wrong. The top seal looks okay. So does the seal on the dryer. This one, not so much. Well, the way I see it, there are three possible failure points. There are the two seals that I put on, obviously one going into the radiator and one going into that dryer thing on the side, and I've just checked the nuts on them and they're both as tight as I could do them. Or there's the nut in between the dryer and the radiator, which I did manage to get a little bit on, but that had been factory done up anyway. I did wonder whether perhaps it even came with a seal. Perhaps it doesn't come with a seal. I did ask them, but they didn't tell me. But I think it does come with a seal, I'm 99% sure. So I can't actually tell whether the liquid has come out from the bottom and sprayed up or come out from the top and sprayed down. There's only one place that hasn't got any oil on it at all, and that's the connection at the dryer. That's completely bone dry. The connection at the radiator is almost bone dry, but there's a little bit of oil there. Whether it came out from there and went down, or whether it came from down the bottom at the connection between the dryer and the radiator and went up, it's obviously not entirely possible to tell just like this, but most of it's certainly around the bottom. But then, you know, it would be, wouldn't it? It's oil. They put oil in with the gas, and obviously they've recovered. As soon as that happened, they sort of set the machine backwards and recovered all the gas, or most of it anyway. And obviously it's just, you know, a sort of green oily residue. It's that bright colour. I think it's also UV, so they can see it, but yeah, I don't think I'll have any trouble spotting that one. So what I'm going to do next, well, not quite sure. I decide to investigate the seal between the dryer and the rad. The two parts came together as a unit, but at this point it's the most likely candidate. Ah, it's an O-ring. This is the same seal as on the dryer connection. Here I've swapped out what was a normal bolt for the special threaded spigot thing. Now, the aircon rad and dryer came with 3 new spigots. The other 2 I obviously used, but as I believe the connection between the rad and dryer was already properly made, I didn't use the 3rd spigot. Whether or not I was supposed to change out the factory bolt and O-ring and use the supplied 3rd spigot and provide my own seal, I still don't really know, but I did contact the supplier several times, but they didn't seem to know either. So this is just how I did it and how things turned out for me. Things might be different for you. That is tight. Again, I'm doing this up as tight as I can, but without using a very large spanner. I don't want anything to break off. That is as tight as it will humanly go. as it will humanly go, and that one is as well. Actually, because I've already done that, so that's fine. Well, that's a couple of little journeys I've been out on in the car now. I had topped the coolant up just with water, and the reason for that was I was a little bit concerned if those hoses were going to reseat themselves happily with those clips. Everything's absolutely fine. I've not lost any coolant and the engine's running at the right temperature, so I'm just draining out the water now. I don't have to worry about that, it's just draining off down there, and in a moment I've got the proper stuff ready to put in. Now, of course, I do wish that I'd put this in right from the off, because of course nothing leaked, so it would have saved me one process, wouldn't it? But at least this way I know the system's now tested and everything's fine in that respect, and so I can go ahead and put the expensive stuff in without any problems. Now, why they send it to you ready diluted beats me really. It's quite ridiculous. It's just sending weight around for the sake of it really, but it looks like you get more, so I suppose that's the point, isn't it? Well, it's the same old procedure, and I've certainly had this front off enough times now to know how everything goes. Let's hope this is the last time. And if you thought I forgot to put that piece of polystyrene on last time I had the button off, well, you were right. Well, that aircon is blowing lovely and cold, so I'm happy. See you next time.